Hey everybody, greetings from New Jersey. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I wanted to take a moment and introduce you to my new ride. It's a 2020 Acura TLX with a V6 engine, super handling, all-wheel drive. That's not me bragging, that's actually Acura's name for it. And the technology package. I bought this car in late September. It's been about 2 months. About 4,000 miles in the books, and I thought I would post a quick video detailing this ride. So the color is majestic black pearl. My old 1998 Honda Accord was black also. Love the color. Reminds me of, like, having Kit from Knight Rider. Only downside is it does show dirt like a boss. My old Accord, my 2012 Honda Accord this replaced, was polished metal metallic, which hid dirt. You could hide months of dirt. This one hides no dirt. A word about my old Accord. It was a great car, but sadly after 228,000 miles, just living in the snow and salt and rust belt was getting to it. More and more parts were deteriorating. The engine and transmission were still strong, but I was having to chase a lot of rust infections and parts under the car wearing out from rust, and so I decided to make the change to something newer, something less miles, and something that'll hopefully take me on the next decade of adventures. The car has LED headlights, which are the best headlights I've ever had in a vehicle. They really do turn night into day. One little feature, or a little hidden thing I like, is the Acura logo emblazoned on the bottom of the headlights. Nice touch. It's a used car. So there's some blemishes on the paint here and there, some areas that could use some touching up. The wheels, some of the wheels have some curb rash on them. The stuff that, eventually I could get cleaned up, but I'm in no rush. It's my daily driver, so it's gonna see its fair share of chips and dings. Nothing to do with that other than at some point, if I keep it for a long time, just get it cleaned up. Take it to a body shop, a wheel shop, etc., just like I did with the old Accord. But overall, really happy with the condition of the car. The one change I have made is in the tires. It came with a set of Michelins that were okay, but they weren't really rated well in the snow, and so they've been replaced, of course, with a set of Nokian WR G4 tires, which will be my go-to for the winter. I was thrilled with what they did with my Accord in the wintertime, so looking forward to seeing what this car will do with these tires plus four-wheel drive. This thing should be a winter beast. I'll be looking forward to the first test. The car comes with Honda's venerable J Series V6. This one puts out about 292 horsepower. It's the same engine basically that was in my old Accord, just a further evolution of it for more power, more fuel economy. One question I get is, have I heard about the recall? Yes, I have. Earlier this month, Honda announced a recall of about 250,000 of these motors in the Honda Odyssey, the Honda Pilot, the Honda Ridgeline, the Acura MDX, and sadly, the 2015 to 2020 Acura TLX. They have a website where you can check to see if your car is affected. I'm happy to report my car is not. It was made too late in the production line to be affected. It was, I think, seemingly earlier vehicles seem to be the biggest issue. Honda does estimate only about 2,000 of the 250,000 vehicles are actually affected by the problem, but it's a pretty serious issue. It involves the crankshaft of the engine, eventually causing the motor to self-destruct. So if you do own one of those vehicles, definitely check the Acura or Honda recall site, but I'm happy to report my new car is not affected, which is great because this was a lot of money, and so a lot of money on a car that would need engine work is not my idea of a good time. So one bullet seemingly dodged, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed that no other major issues come up. So good space in the trunk, but that's not why I'm highlighting this. The mat might look familiar. So when I bought the car, the dealership where I bought it from, Bill Vince's Bridgewater Acura, has a parking garage, and they park your new car next to your old car so you can transfer your belongings. And so as I was moving stuff back and forth, I had both trunks open, And my salesman, Scott, looks at my old car, looks at this TLX, looks back at my old Accord and says, hang on a second. He pulls the trunk liner out of my old Accord and it slid right in perfectly into my TLX. So one, I didn't have to buy a trunk liner, but two, call me sentimental, a little piece of my favorite car of all time continues with me. So that's all. So we'll go inside and take a closer look in a moment. But just wanted to show that one of the things I really like is the design of the seats, the piping and stitching, the perforated leather give it a very nice look, and they are honestly the most comfortable and supportive seats I've ever had in a vehicle. You don't feel the miles at all. There's no achiness or soreness when you get up. But yeah, let's take a deep dive in. All right, so the car starts without complaint. The one thing we'll do is turn off the auto stop start. If you idle, the car will turn off to save fuel. I don't care for that. I don't like the idea of the starter motor being engaged that much, but Acura gives you a button so you can just defeat it, so system defeated. One other fun feature is that when you turn the car off and open the door, the driver's side front seat slides backward to ease you getting out, and when you get in and turn the car on, it slides back into position. Kind of a level of luxury I'm not accustomed to. I call it my Darth Vader throne. But overall, the car is filled with safety features, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control. One thing I would ding, I don't know if it's going to come up well. So it has a 2-display system for the stereo and navigation, and the top screen, which I'm looking at here, is actually pretty decent in terms of quality, but Acura's map system, its navigation system, the graphics look like they're from 1995. I keep expecting Link to go walking across the screen looking for Zelda, like in my old Super Nintendo system from the 90s. So it's interesting, when you plug the phone in, you get Apple CarPlay, so you can use Apple's apps on your iPhone, and the screen quality is really good. It's just a map system that I think could use to be brought into the next, millennium. Down here we have our controls for the radio, for ventilation. One thing I would ding with this car is that when we turn on the ventilation system, the seat heater controls, on my old Accord they were a physical button, and here it's a touch screen, and I feel like it's just, it's not bad, but it's just a level of, over-teching something that doesn't need to be teched, right? A button, a physical switch would be fine. Here, if I'm driving, I've got to look over, hit the seat heater control, select which one I want, and then turn it on, off, up, down, taking your eyes from the road. So sometimes simpler, I think, just honestly is better. A little less button heavy than my old Accord, but overall pretty easy to use. Something else that I'm not in love with is the shifter. It uses a push button shifter. It's cool. It works. It's fun. It's futuristic looking, but honestly, a gear shift lever would have been just fine for me. Parking brake is now a switch. Brake hold is pretty cool. If you turn this on, come to a stop, take your foot off the brake, the car will hold stopped until you hit the gas pedal again. And then there's the auto stop start feature. So the back seat's nice. The seat's very comfortable. If you're a passenger back here, maybe a little lack of legroom, maybe my one ding against it, but overall it's a good place. You have your own ventilation in the back, plenty of speakers surrounding you. There's actually an armrest that pulls down from the center that has cup holders in it. Maybe one small ding is that there's no USB connections back here, no power ports. I can certainly run a cable back for passengers who are in the back seat, but there's nothing here, which is surprising in a luxury car that originally retailed for over $40-some thousand. So I do know Acura put this in the back for the follow-on model, but this one doesn't have one. So interesting point to bring up. Anyway, a minor thing, not a huge problem. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour of my new car. I will keep the reports coming as the miles and years go by. This is the nicest car I've ever owned. in terms of luxury and amenities, performance. Really can't top it. However, the 2012 Accord was the greatest car I've ever owned, my favorite car. So time will tell if this one, can fill some pretty big shoes from my last one. Anyway, thanks for coming along. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season. And here's to the next 200,000 miles. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.